Recently, there has been a pretty heavy discussion about infinite loops in Honkai Star Rail, which we will assume is merely a random academic inquiry rather than any sort of hallucination the community has. Infinite loops are something I've covered.
Okay, well, it's fine. My ears are not. I'm gonna make it a little bit softer here for myself because fuck you. Let me just bring this down a little bit, and I'll bring up a YouTube chat as well, so I can watch together with YouTube, right? So I can look at all of my chat together as one big happy family, right? So let me just press
in this channel a grand total of 2 times and only notating a specific one. So I thought, what better time would there be to create an educational video
that's fantastic.
every type of infinite loops, including those that are actually possible to do right now without any cheating or data manipulation. Ones that have the potential to exist because of one unit, and
10 FPS. I'm pretty sure this is just the original video, right?
Clauses that stopped it. But
this is just the original video, bro. That was like part of the video. Bro, is this not normal?
First, let's discuss the loops.
How is this not normal, chat?
Game. You can perform these in the live server given specific conditions and specific units.
It's an E0 S0 left. Right. Okay, also E0 S1. Legion 15 is like pretty good.
Right, but first unit is Zila. This was only really possible due to Zila's Nova Flare.
Wow.
Previously, Zila couldn't make a loop, but got close with.
Bro, how is this not fine? It looks completely fine to me, guys.
Currently, the Zila
I'm looking at the same screen that y'all are looking right now. It looks completely fine.
This will give her an
okay, fine. Oh my god, I'll kill HSR. I'll kill my fucking god, bro. Y'all are babies, bro. Okay, I'll close HSR, right? Okay, I've closed HSR, right? Okay, I've closed HSR. Okay.
She does an extra skill to
does it change anything?
If this extra skill can kill an enemy,
does it change
Zila now
anything?
has 2 extra turns from Resurgence. Zila can use basic attacks for each of those extra turns, then use her ult to kill and gain another extra turn. You can use basic attack again for a total of 4 basic attacks. Because of Zila's major trace, her basic attack will advance her by 20%.
Slightly better.
4 basic attacks will give you an 80% action
Jarvis is just like, can you just lag once in your life?
You will be able to do
bro, back in my days, this was the standard, alright? Back in my days. So y'all should just get used to it.
And then you can do it all over again. And because Zila's max energy is so low, you can do her ult with this setup every single turn, making it a true infinite loop.
Wow. But I legit feel like I'm back in 2023
Himiko is a double restriction.
Hey, Jet,
because of Himiko's
wow, this guy like, he quite cool, yeah?
Enough toughness bars while using her follow-up attack.
Oh, the visual example is gonna be on the screen right now.
Himiko will stop doing follow-up attacks until the enemy or allies do something. But if an enemy dies, Himiko will trigger her follow-up attack again and repeat
so this one, then the enemy cannot run away, right? Oh, then every single time she do the follow-up attack, then she will say like, you cannot run away, you cannot run away. Wow, you really like cannot run last year, this one.
It's been in the game for a pretty long time now, even back in the days of 1.x. But of course, just like Zila, it's even worse actually. Himiko's loop has its restrictions. In general, the active loops right now in the game are environment-based and easily controlled by power creep. Remove fire weakness and Himiko main for 2 or other break idle. Spike the HP high enough and Zila mains will pull for more sparkle idle. The gambling table wins with these infinite loops, so it's safe to say they really don't care about it. It is interesting that these consistent loops are only available for 1.x characters. They very well could have realized their mistakes because there hasn't been true infinite loops to this caliber ever since 1.x, I guess just to be on the safer side.
I see.
Now we move on to the next type of loops, enemy loops. These are loops that aren't because of the characters but enemy mechanics. Good timing for this video because one of them you can experience right now. Apocalyptic Shadow Flame Reaver will enter a phase where he summons clones. One of these clones will give you an extra turn when you kill them. And if you kill enough clones, well, you get the extra turn clones back again. And yes, this basically gives you the opportunity to make every character feel
whether or not this is gonna be considered as FPS for 10 FPS or 100 FPS. Does it actually matter? Because y'all just watch streams for background noise anyways, right? So as long as the audio is fine, okay, like to me, right, personally, as a streamer myself, as long as the audio is fine, I will stay in the stream, bro. The guy could be streaming like 360, 30 FPS. I don't care. If the audio sounds crisp, right? Audible, right? And I can understand what he's trying to convey for himself, then I am gonna be staying in that stream, if I can say so myself, right? And there it is.
Like Zilla, which has some very unfortunate consequences in the form of players
that means you can hide your face right now.
Set up. This is one of the most accessible loops in terms of how many units can actually do it.
Then
of
how
course,
like that?
Just like the other active loops, it is subject to HP inflation, so not everybody can do it in practice. On paper, you could though.
As he just borrowed Force PC.
Another one,
I'm not gonna be borrowing Force PC because like I'm gonna be streaming till like 3-4 a.m.
Because of Hulei's one Finon's counter, Hulei will keep advancing Finon to 0 AV, and Finon advances Hulei to 0 AV. Even if
that was back in those days. Absolutely.
Finon can advance the wolves to kill with his counter and force Hulei to a 1v1. And
oh my god, as a prank, I will delete all 4 Masters Wuthering Wave Echoes again.
The only resource
Kiki break and then hey yo, thanks for hosting, bro. And then I'll just bounce back. And then he will never know what happened.
A true infinite loop. Unfortunately,
that was a joke. That was a joke, right? That was a joke.
Shadow since Irene's release. So we haven't actually experienced the true version of this loop, and it does rely on enemy HP being low enough still. But a strong enough Kazlanov will definitely be able to do this loop once Hulei rolls around again. So that's all of the types of loops in the game currently. There are definitely more loops that exist, but these are just the strongest examples that I can
the exclamation crit function is pretty cool, huh? That's very, very cool.
Now then, let's talk about loops that could have existed. Closed loops. Closed loops kinda explain what seems like strange design choices in characters. Let's start with a simple one with Archer. Archer's skill has a limit of 5 uses before automatically passing his turn. Unless you use Cerebral, of course.
Speaking about Archer, right? Speaking about Archer, so here's the thing, right? I legitimately feel after playing HSR for like 1 year, Archer just seems to be the man, bro. He just seems to have the capabilities of always rising up to the challenge whenever the challenge is going to present itself. And this is very clearly seen from the option to get ourselves a 3-second Archer, giving him pretty much one of the best E1s for an E1 DPS. Like from an E0 to an E1 damage increase, right? Second of all, here's the support Sparkle. Alright, Sparkle also got a Nova Flare, which then made Archer even stronger. Alright. And DHPT works really, really well with Archer on the baseline because of the attack scaling. Maybe you could argue Huan got a Nova Flare as well, which you could technically actually use Huan for both Archer as well as Sparkle since they also want energy. So that could also be the case, right? If you are going to be able to get enough skill points, right? And that then brings me to the final level missing link, right? If we somehow have another unit, right, that could also give a Archer the much needed value of essentially doubling as a second Sparkle, just funneling as much skill points as possible, I legitimately think that would just take Archer completely to the next level. Because right now, even if you were to play E1 Archer with a Sparkle, I'm pretty sure you guys would have experienced for yourselves that there will be a slight downtime. Right, like after you let go of your Sparkles out, there's at least that one entire turn you have to just do your Archer spacey attack, which is a huge waste of action value. And that is where a lot of Archer's clears to become a lot slower because you can't continuously let go of your 5 E's, right? So if we can actually somehow get another unit that can help cover this shortfall in the same time, I legitimately think Archer will be pretty much the face of Devs Listen, right? Because Bucko himself is free. The E1 is free, Sparkle is free, DHPD is free, and if we do get another unit, this is basically a one, right? Basically speaking, right? Okay, anyways, back to the video.
Why does this limit exist when we'll never have infinite SP anyway? Actually, we were very close to getting one in endgame. On 3.2 Pure Fiction, there was a blessing
I'm just saying like the issues with Archer's kit right now. And like what can we do to like basically improve Archer's kit?
In Pure Fiction, Archer will basically
right?
With
yeah,
the
basically
worst builds man could imagine.
Chat, what the hell is
that updates, there would have also been infinite loops in Simulated Universe or
Saber?
Currency Wars had Archer not have a skill use limit. Second is Robin. reason. Robin can't use her ult during Concerto. The simple reason why is because at some point with enough energy regeneration units, Robin teams will revolve around the strategy where funneling all energy to Robin every turn will result in a team-wide AA to keep going forever. Especially now because Robin's max energy isn't that high with current energy.
Oh my god, you know they
focusing on
should
her.
honestly just consider completely reworking Bobbin. Like if Bobbin is gonna never have a Nova Flare, right? They should remove that option where you can't cast out again. So you can literally perma Bobbin out. I think that would be like really, really fucking interesting. Because like even if you can perma Bobbin out, right? It's not like it's gonna be an infinite cycle where, oh wait, maybe for facial it's okay. But I feel like facial does deserve a infinite cycle loop, right, with a infinite Bobbin. So I do believe it is gonna be healthier for the game.
It's very interesting playstyle though, but probably for the best that Robin's energy is locked this way.
My blade.
Next is Castorus's new bud. There's a reason why her new bud is weirdly based on an account
Sunday when facial will loop infinitely
based on the team's cumulative
as they should.
level or their max
Okay,
HP,
maybe they could do like a hard
level
limit. Like you can't cast your ultimate like infinitely. Like just one more time.
HP, Castorus
you can only cast it one more
very
time.
little to get her
just to
back
like
up
keep it a little bit more relatable.
And say you have a powerful healer that doesn't need levels to function and heals the entire party to full when Pollux does the final hit with enough memo sprites. You have an infinite Castorus ult loop. These loops were all forcefully closed by limitations that don't seem that important. You can also consider weird energy breakpoints as to why some units can't have an infinite loop. There's a good reason why there isn't many energy sets like Thief, because even buffing it a slight amount can create Argenti or Kafka ultimate loops, for example. There's a good reason they haven't power crept tutorial and energy gain for the same reasons. Same with DDD and Passkey being limited in their application. But overall, these are closed loops that have no way of happening ever again. Future unit designs can still loop, but for these units like Robin, Castorus, and Archer, these loops are no longer possible.
Okay, but why not though? Why not have a Nova Flare? Because they could just Nova Flare for Bobbin and they'd be like, oh, you know what? Now she can cast her Ultima one additional time. And then you can have to reset. So it's technically not really a infinite loop. But it will greatly increase the damage capability. Bro, just because I say what if Nova Flare,
you've probably been waiting for this the entire video.
It's not legal.
Let's talk about the spiciest loops.
Okay, so do I say, why is Chair a fucking dumbass?
Ticking time bombs.
Bro, am I leaking?
Open loops are loops that already have one piece of the
puzzle why is Chair
in the
just
game
too
that
silly?
Cannot be taken back. Therefore, new characters that Hoyoverse releases can run into an infinite loop because of these very specific units already in the game. Because of this, certain unit designs are off limits because of their interaction with a previously released character. The following examples can explain why some newer characters have restrictions that do not make an impact outside of preventing an
I just realized he's using Bronya with
Bronya. I've already explained hers in 2 separate videos, but to give you a quick summary.
Speaking of Bronya, right, bro, I found this absolutely ancient video made by MrPokke. Do y'all want to watch it? Absolutely fucking. It was made way the fuck back in 2023, I believe. It was a Doctor Ratio 0 cycle. Because my laptop had all my shit back in 2023 when I started, right? Bro, it has everything, bro. Oh my god, bro. I see like the shit that I have. It's insane throwback, and I almost cried, bro, because it was so fucking insane. Okay, we'll probably check it out after this video, but a very nostalgic moment.
Bronya's open loop is a very straightforward action advance loop.
Yeah, Doctor Ratio 0 cycle, bro.
That can also advance units by 100%, like Bronya, with no further drawbacks or restrictions.
Bro, have y'all seen MrPokke's head? I don't know how no one told me MrPokke's head was a fucking army, right? I'll show you guys exactly what I'm saying.
To create damage with this loop,
Lee Howdy or Lee Howdy to you do
or RMC in the sidelines. With enough DDD procs or mem charges, the DPS can act and gain energy for themselves and deal damage. It is a very painstaking process, but theoretically speaking, if you can set this loop up, no matter how much HP inflation there is in Star Rail, you will clear the same amount of AV each time in every endgame mode. Additionally, since the only required slots are Bronya, the new unit, and RMC or another buffer, pulling a new DPS can make the process faster and the team scales with them. It is an utterly broken combo. This is the reason why Sparkle doesn't have a no-holds-barred 100% action advance. This is why Sunday is not allowed to pull up harmonies. This is why Cyrene limits it to Anoxa and isn't spammable. Certain designs like Bronya's single target advance are balanced around the idea that Bronya might loop with them, which hasn't been bothering them so far in creating unique action advancers. So the game is in a pretty good state in avoiding Bronya loops, but nonetheless, it is a pit that they can't ever run into.
I see.
The
basically speaking, yeah, okay, go ahead.
There is
basically,
a certain limit in which characters can no longer
basically Bronya is tier 0
energy very rapidly. Due to RMC's mem charge mechanic, no team can ever generate 1000 energy team-wide in a very accessible manner. Otherwise, mem will gain full charge each time and just keep looping a desirable turn to keep this going. Mechanics like this aren't actually far behind. Saber can possibly do it, but is lacking the infrastructure of a fast energy generator for her. Sunday is simply not quick enough to enforce a loop like this. You can see the safeguarding put on Saber's kit with her fake energy mechanic called Core Resonance. That part of Saber's design is to make her energy gain much more bursty to prevent these outright loops. The concept remains the same though. Because of RMC's existence, a team can no longer generate 1000 energy very consistently and must be managed through high burst gains like Saber's. Even then, Saber still has a chance to loop with RMC given the right new character. There are other open loops that are much more extreme. Fei Xiao's method of energy gain is right for the possibility of an infinite loop, but it's a very extreme amount of attacks needed.
Okay, bro, you know what, bro? I'm gonna be so for real, right? I'm gonna be so for real. Fei Xiao, personally speaking, is the highest skill ceiling champion in League of in HSR, bro. Fei Xiao legit is the highest skill ceiling champion. Because where else are you gonna find another unit that you have to balance not just one, but 3 different follow-up attack characters such that Fei Xiao doesn't waste her stacks, and all 3 characters can use 4-piece ego, bro? Name me one other champion that has a higher skill ceiling. Bro, name me one other champion that's a high. I'm not even saying if Fei Xiao is a good unit or a bad unit, but name me one other champion that's a higher skill ceiling. Sela, bro, Sela ain't a high skill ceiling champion, bro. You run on Saridra and then you press E. Bro, what? Right, it's very, very straightforward, right? It's very, very straightforward. Loki, Yasuo. Okay, E2 Finon. It just depends when do you cast your E and when do you cast your W. So no, I don't think that's gonna be very high skill ceiling, right? The highest skill ceiling for E2 Final is to have the restraint to skip everything and actually get E2 Final. But other than that, I think it's gonna be okay, right? Saying this shows that you know nothing about Scylla. I know everything about, bro. I was the first guy in the entire HSR community that made like 20 different Scylla zero cycles. I know everything. I did a 3-man Scylla zero cycle back in 2023, bro. They literally called me Mr. Scylla because of how much I slandered Jingyuan and said you should actually just pull for Scylla instead of Jingyuan. So watch your fucking mouth, right? So TLDR, yup, Fei Xiao is the highest skill ceiling champion.
Designing a unit to avoid it but still enforce power creep is pretty simple.
Do it now. I don't worry about
can actually still infinite loop with an extremely potent healer, but it seems pretty far off to worry about. There's also mechanics like Mortenox Blade, Acheron, Jade, Ceridra, and March to the Hunt that could lead to loops, but are easily avoidable compared to what we have already discussed. Though Mortenox Blade is really special due to needing the least amount of attacks to do a follow-up attack. He's much closer to being a loop unit than someone like Fei Xiao, for example.
I see. Will infinite loops doom the game?
So, with all of these discussions on loops, would the game be doomed if an infinite loop
don't check the video comments, don't worry about it.
Server? Well, no. First of all, Hoyo has been known to shortly patch out unintended interaction, though with very small mechanical changes. For example, Cyrene's Ode to Law for Ceridra being able to stack was easily patched out early on, and functionally it wasn't that much of a change anyway. But if the change was incredibly drastic, like removing half of a major trace's function altogether, it's going to be much more difficult to get rid of. But we haven't seen that yet in HSR or any of the other games that Hoyo has, so Who knows how Hoyo will act with this type of situation. Assuming that
well,
either
you know
the
how they
player
made
base
it
or
even
just
more
out of
lazy, though?
Hoyo's own discretion that the loop was left alone, then, well, the loop itself might be something Hoyo can control and is perfectly fine. Technically speaking, Himiko and Zila's infinite loops was managed by simply
this is
rising
so
HP
fucking
and
comfortable,
toughness.
bro.
So
Holy
depending
shit.
on the nature of the loop, Hoyo wouldn't really care about it. But assuming Hoyo stepped into the actual dangerous open loops
Chat,
like
by the way,
Vanya
fun
or
fact, right?
RMC,
Fun fact.
there are still ways around it.
You know how people might talk about changes, right? Adjustments. Some might even say nerfs, right? Did you guys actually know? Okay, this is not leakers, right? This is not leakers, right? But did you guys actually know what was Fei Xiao's E2? So for every single time someone, oh my god, bro, my champion got nerfed, my champion, bro, Fei Xiao's E2, back in the days before it actually made it out to the final version, bro, if she actually had that E2, she will probably actually be the strongest unit in the whole game, bro. Like, the strongest E2 in the whole game. But of course, they had to fucking change that shit. So, whenever y'all see any changes happening to your favorite units, just know that MrPokke still loves Fei Xiao for the way that Fei Xiao is gonna be this, right? Sorry. But I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying you shut the fucking mouth about it, right?
It's as simple as making a debuff that reduces action advance effects by like 10% or something. Or let's say they add enemies that action advance themselves after enough time and start to kill you like in Simulated Universe. Or just lowering ERR by an insignificant amount to anyone else, but kills an infinite RMC loop. Or, in a very controversial move, nerf a unit like RMC to prevent a loop, but also might affect their other team's performances.
Nerfing.
If there is a loop
Why
in
don't you
HSR,
say a
there are
PC table?
very
I'm in
simple ways
America,
to
bro.
kill it that Hoyo can do very legally.
I'm in LA
but honestly,
right now.
that's too much work for them. Adding new enemies
This is not
just to
Singapore,
counter
Bago.
loops isn't a worthwhile solution. Adding a death timer like in Simulated Universe doesn't really help anybody. The last time they nerfed a unit 1 year after release, they got threatened by the Chinese community with a possible lawsuit. So the better choice is to simply make sure that no infinite loops exist in the first place, or at least ones that they can't control.
I see. Hoyo is bankrupt and never
So
needs.
I guess to close this video, as time passes, Hoyo makes mistakes that can stifle future
Wait, none of
designs
them
in
made
the form of
Hoyoverse have a
characters.
lawsuit.
As much as I call Hoyo
So was it only
creatively
for
bankrupt
CN,
in
or
how
was it for
units
like
are
every
so
single
boring,
Genshin player
when they
had
do
like the
make
additional
interesting kits
1600?
like Mortenox Blade and RMC, they seem to run into mistakes and
That-
allow future
everyone
kits
had
to
it
run into
because of
disastrous
CN? Oh, that's
infinite
crazy, bro.
loops. It really is a matter of
That's
seeing
crazy.
how much Hoyo can bend this game to keep rehashing certain gimmicks with better numbers to make them sell better, and eventually
Because of
Hoyo
that,
pushes
they have
a little
Madeline
too far
power creep.
and designs an infinite loop. These
Oh.
design bottlenecks are probably why we never see creativity in individual kits in HSR, and we often see it sold as whole teams instead.
You
to
know there
prevent
used to be this
over-design
bug with
singular
Anaxa, bro.
units. It's kind of their
Like you
fault,
could
which is
infinite
why I'm not very
Cyrene charge
sympathetic
up
about
of
it,
your
but
Cerebra
that's all
ultimate,
for
and then
infinite loops.
Cerebra
That's all for
out the
today.
charge
Like,
stats
comment,
will
do
go
the
down,
algorithm stuff.
and
I
your
hope you
Anaxa
enjoyed
can have
this
like
video,
pew
and if you learned
at like
something
every
or
one
want
hit.
other people to know
That
more
was
about
like
loops,
legitimately
then
fucking
comment
crazy.
down below and
All right,
share,
thank
I
you
guess.
so
I'll see you
much, Mr. Waveman. That was a very, very interesting video for the infinite loop. So TLDR, that was a very, very interesting video, right? You have cooled your last cool, my man.